Are you on mute?
Yeah, we on mute. I was just waiting for more people. Hey, Ellie.
My bad. I was like, this freaking phone. Let me throw it away.
No, it's okay.
Who's the people?
I thought it was my phone. All right.
I'm gonna wait 5 minutes and I'm actually gonna text people because I know we're on at 6:30, but I had talked about 7, so I don't know if people are confused. All right, Ellie. Oh, I know that Ebenezer's walked. Oh, there you go. Let's start, Ebenezer. Are we on YouTube already? Yes.
Yes, we are on YouTube, we are in Facebook, we are ready to go.
So time 6:38, 2, 4, 6, 7.
Oh, these are counts.
Not performing.
Yes.
Oh yeah, he does 8. I think we do. Is that one?
I think that's one.
Yeah, that should be quorum. All right, we have quorum, so it's 6:39, so we're officially in order. Does anybody have any additional agenda items for tonight? Hi,
Hi,
Mary.
Mary.
There is a slice in the back if you wanna, before you, there's pizza in the back in case you get settled. There's pizza in the back. Yeah. I mean, really, the goal for today is to walk through treasurer report.
The calendar says 7 o'clock.
I
Which
had a
calendar?
feeling. Our digital calendar, the agenda says 6:30 because Passover, we were gonna start at 7.
Oh,
But then,
Not
yeah,
early.
but I didn't know that not everybody got that memo. And I had asked that. to be
I didn't
high.
actually know.
I hope if you already started, you're gonna back up.
No, we haven't started. I was just getting started.
But the Zoom calendar is 6:30.
Oh, the Zoom calendar says 6:30, okay. All right, I mean, at this point, really the goal for tonight's talk to treasure, we have, I know Alexis isn't here, but we do have update around the AI stuff, so I think we can have like a meaty conversation about things for this fiscal year and then for next fiscal year that we can keep talking about each month. We have events to talk about in the 2 months that we have left. And of course, just standard business for next week and for the last 2 months. Am I forgetting anything besides our guides and our website and the long scroll of our projects? Mhm. Okay, cool. Just pull up there.
While we're doing that, remember a couple months ago, we hired a person to create like social media stuff for us? Did that ever come through? Weren't they supposed to create like videos of like historical things in the community? Or am I misremembering?
No, so we contracted her for 2 videos. Which was tied to the Historic District Council thing, and I think we sent the numbers. When was that, Ebenezer? That was. Oh my God, why does it sound, it feels like forever ago. I think it was in the fall.
Yeah.
Yes, it was in the fall for the project, land use project. It was the survey that she was promoting that.
So it got clicks, we got some submissions, it got good, decent views, locally. But it was just for that.
Got it.
No, it wasn't for, but that's kind of part of tonight's discussion.
Cool.
So we can go there. But just for chair report, and it's kind of tied into a little bit of our treasury conversation. So I had mentioned about the Uptown Mixer. That was Carmen's idea, and I've been in touch with the other board chairs. So we got a date. We got some foot traffic, like movement on this finally. So Friday, June 6th is what we're looking at, and it'll be at the Forum. Is a location, like, right now it's available. Columbia hasn't said anything, so it's a space that would be free, and so from our board budget, or all the 4 boards would contribute towards like food and refreshments. So I just have to make sure we can get like outside catering for it. So Friday, June 6th. I gotta see who's gonna do the flyer for it, but it's just board members, obviously all the electeds, public members included in that. And I think that's it. That's a list of like 250 people, so.
Where's the forum?
125th and Broadway.
Talking very fast.
Okay, sorry.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
No, it's okay. So oh yeah, because you were out. So the CB 9, 10, and 11, and 12 have been talking about having a mixer for
Right.
all the boards.
Right.
So June 6th, which is a Friday, is a date that we've like locked in. And we were looking for space in between, so it's not too strenuous, and it's called the Forum, but it's 135th and Broadway, which is
25th.
oh yeah, 125th, sorry, 125th and Broadway. Which is that like research building, I think it is mainly.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's
The
next to
forum,
that.
right?
It's the one right by the subway stop.
Yeah, so it's right off the 1 train, which is good.
Oops.
And buses, stop, so it's a nice in between for all of us. That was the important piece. So June sixth, I'm hoping to see everybody in person on Thursday, just so that we can get the flyer and like save the dates to all the board members and we can figure out registration and
On
all that.
Thursday?
But it's a Friday, the first Friday of the month.
No, you said you hope to see everyone on Thursday?
Oh, Thursday at Borough Board. So
Oh.
I have Borough Board on Thursday. I'll be there in person.
I was
I'm waiting.
looking-
Sorry, my brain is, if
Seriously.
I'm going fast, it's because my brain today's thinking 5 things and I'm talking on 3.
I know, but
I'm catching up. I hear
you're
you.
completely losing me, and that's not fair to me.
No, I understand that. That's what I'm saying. Thank you. I'm slowing down now. So Borough Board is on Thursday. We are taking a vote and I'm waiting to learn on what. I have not been informed yet
To learn what?
on what we're voting on at Borough Board. So I just need to, I'll find out tomorrow and I might email anybody just in case there's a vote that intersects with your committee. So there's a vote that's happening at Borough Board for all the Manhattan chairs. On what, I don't know.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just told I gotta be in person for it. That was 2, and then the third thing, what am I forgetting? Oh, board terms. Ebenezer and I were speaking about it earlier, so now on the MBPO's website, you know how they have like all of your names and who appointed you? Your term limit is now on there.
Good.
Next week, we gotta alert that because there might be some names that are a little inconsistent with when they started versus when their term limit expires. So I think the best route is like every individual board member, if they have that concern, should reach out to Porfidio. But that is a big update. I don't know yet in terms of new board members.
It's early.
Yeah, it's pretty early, but I know all the interviews are done. And prompts and stuff like that, so we'll see what's next.
How many vacancies are there?
Was it 7?
We went into it with 4, but then there were a number of people that did not reapply, right? Was it
Mhm.
5 others didn't reapply, so total 9 vacancies? Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a big group this year, of vacancies coming into the term. In this term, there's a group of vacancies of 9 people.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, coming in May.
Yeah, so hopefully May. What we need to do is figure out, and we're always kind of like a little behind on that, is a for sure date for the new member orientation. I think we generally waited until they come and then decide the date, and I think this year that's gonna be really challenging, just in terms of scheduling, so I would like us to kind of just lock down a date for orientation. And then we'll have to talk about like, and then we can talk about it next month. Hi, Alexis.
Hey.
We don't have to talk about this tonight.
Today, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was a mix up. I apologize. You're okay. We haven't gotten like deep into anything. And
Is there a possibility to host when we member orientation in July? I know we're
Right.
off session, but in case we're pushing it close. June seems like a really busy month for the events.
We've done July in the past, haven't we?
we can if people are available. I mean, it's just a matter of people being available till
Yeah,
time.
I know years ago, we used the committee of the whole meeting
Yeah,
as
yeah,
the new member orientation.
Right.
Since there would be no other, typically no other, board business to deal with.
Okay. Would folks want to wait till next month to propose dates around July or even June?
I'm definitely out in July, and we do our show for the whole month of Marcus Garvey, so.
Mm. Okay.
When do we normally do it? Like in the middle of the week or?
I think it changes every year, right? Like sometimes it's been June, sometimes it's been May, sometimes it's been July.
We didn't do it last year though, right?
Last year we didn't because the date posed an issue for everyone. But I think it would be nice if we had the date so that when you're assigned, like you get your letter, it's like your orientation's the date.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Okay, so maybe
No, I mean, I guess we need to talk more about what happens during that orientation, because, in the past, like, when I was appointed, we had each of the committee chairs or a representative at that orientation to talk about their committee. What it entails, what it's all about, so that people could, kind of make a semi-informed decision about which committee they'd like to join. We did that in June. Right, Wayne?
Well, I mean, in June, typically, you don't have to pick your committee in June.
No,
Well,
but-
you're right. I mean, at the new member orientation, you have the, committees do a brief presentation on what they're about, but also typically there's a booklet that has the bylaws and Robert's Rules of Order and maybe the most recent, district needs, summary, so that folks have some reference material to look at.
Mhm.
And like a list of who the current, other board members are. It's just kind of, here's your, welcome to the club, here's your material.
Mhm. Okay, so quick question, raise hand if July works, like first, second week of July. After 4th of July.
Set Africa.
Maybe-ish.
Okay, because everybody who's at this table needs to play a role or be present, so I just
Yeah.
want to make sure, and I already know
Yeah.
July won't.
I work the whole month, 12 hours a day, so
And I'll visit you one of those days.
I hope you do.
And then if we do June, I mean, maybe we can make it a weekend breakfast or like the evening.
July would work for me, except the middle. I mean, because from the 9th to the 16th, I will not be here.
So let's do week 1, 2 of July. All right, that works. Cool. All right, I don't have the agenda from me, sorry. Oh, I just skipped around, that's okay. All
What's that
right, so
for?
we need to talk,
What's the July thing?
the new member orientation,
Oh,
so the
okay.
9 new members.
Okay.
And then for next month, I could circulate what we did like 2 years ago and see how people want to adjust it. All right, so May and June calendars, I can try to bring on screen. I'm about to call Steve Simon and put him on speaker because, or maybe we can wait to see if he shows up.
Maybe he thinks that's 7.
He hasn't texted. He's always late and didn't text.
He's just on Simon.
He's on Simon time. You're right. He has other commitments.
Oh, the sun.
It is the sun.
Yeah.
Steve,
Steve Simon.
Oh,
so we'll come back to some people for May, and June, but in terms of the calendar for May and June. Do we have copies on the table?
Over there.
Oh,
I'll bring some.
thanks.
Sorry.
It's next Tuesday.
Who's, Catherine, who's online?
There's one thing we
Just Eliezer.
we still haven't.
Can we
emailed
see?
Ben.
Oh.
Thank you. You have a calendar. You have, see, for some reason, I thought it was the 29th.
Yeah, I thought I
That's May.
So,
It's always the 4th, yeah. I can check this
Thank
one
you,
as 5.
That's May.
Thank you, Will.
Well, anyone?
Thank you. Yep.
Can you take youth and education off the schedule too for that second Tuesday? Cause it's still on my calendar.
Okay, yeah. No, we're in April. That's me. I forgot, I know. We're in April. I'm not arranged time and place for you. Can I just want to also offer that one of the things with new members that may serve purposefully is understanding days and schedules, because sometimes people do have jobs and maybe a 7 o'clock meeting might be better for them than a 6:30 meeting, for example. So I think it's good to clarify
Yeah,
that.
this is the district service.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, start time. Okay. Okay. Anybody besides Leo? And for me, for the month of May. Everybody's good. I see there's the edit.
Oh.
Ebenezer, did you catch that around youth and education?
Yes.
That they're
We are
Thursdays, not
good.
Tuesday.
What happened with youth and education in May?
Oh, they're on Thursdays, correct.
Yes, on Thursday.
Is there somewhere else that it's in the wrong place?
And it's my calendar, but it's going now, so they fixed it.
Oh,
Yeah, online it had it twice. I think
And
it was
I-
April.
Yeah, and I
April,
have
May.
the whole community board meeting 2 times on my calendar too. I have it, it's the 22nd, right?
This month, yeah. it's okay.
Yeah, I have it on the 24th, so let me get it down,
was it from the online calendar that you added it?
probably.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna take it with the silence that everybody's time is correct.
Yes.
Mine is.
Okay, we're general board meetings the day after Memorial Day. We're good because of Juneteenth, so.
That's right, Juneteenth.
We ever schedule around Shavuos?
Around who?
Shavuos? Jewish
I don't
holiday.
think it's been. I don't think so.
What day is that?
I don't think, is it a high holiday? I don't know.
Yes. June 19 is a holiday. The office is gonna be closed.
No, but I think this year Passover coincides with this week, which is
Yeah.
Holy Week. I'm almost positive, but let me double check.
We
It
just check
does,
the high
right?
holidays.
Because you.
No, it is right now. Through the
Because Greek
Sunday.
Easter is always after Passover, and this year we're the same as.
Yeah.
all you other
Everybody's in the
people.
same schedule.
As
We
the
are
Greeks will say-
Almost everyone.
Up.
As the Greeks will say, the correct Easter.
Exactly.
Oh, look at you.
Sorry, I'm just checking.
The
it.
Orthodox
May
Easter.
12th
Well, my big fat Greek wedding was
is
not a farce.
permitted.
I want to, funny for you,
We're
painful. for me.
permitted. June 1st through the 3rd.
Yeah, so I don't know what that does to me. For a second.
Business, traffic and cannabis, candidates.
We can move it.
No, if there are members. who
No, it's if
celebrate,
there are members.
Oh, no, we don't have.
then
So that's what's in the
they get
bylaws.
excused. Yeah,
Oh,
assuming you can meet quorum without them.
Okay.
Okay, so. Ebenezer, could you write there for business? So Joel, Nobles and traffic. Leo, just give a reminder about June 1st through the 3rd, there's a Jewish high holiday. So just so that folks can, in the members. So that the members of those committees could be emailed of like, that we recognize as a holiday, if it affects them, so let us know.
Which day you said May,
June 1st through it's June 2nd and 3rd. Those are the only two
June
affected.
2nd, so, okay.
Nothing with traffic.
We should be all right. I don't believe we have any Jewish.
I can't hear you.
We should be all right. We don't have any Jewish or that observes the religion.
That doesn't matter,
So if according to the bylaws, if
right?
No, the bylaws are if a member, if essentially if there's a member who observes, they're excused. If it affects quorum and the majority of that committee is impacted, then we change the date.
Like, that's Wednesday, right? There's people who put in bells, because the best one, then they got excused, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will double check with June, but it doesn't look like that is a major holiday. According to I have it on the list of the Jewish holiday, but not mark as one of the major one.
All right, so let's just double check
Mhm.
and we'll inform folks. All right, so we're good with calendar. We'll come back. Leo and Steve are open item for me. All right, secretary time.
All right. Yeah. Listen, I haven't
They're not gonna-
Secretary doing their job.
What's that
This is
paper?
treasurer.
sorry, Mary,
No,
this
I
is,
got that. That's the agenda, right?
yeah,
No, that's not the agenda.
no, this is the treasurer.
Treasurer report.
Huh?
Treasurer report.
Oh. I finally, I'll wait till Tabby, I'm gonna wait till you set. Okay, so
I hung out with Porfirio the other night and I'm like, you gotta get me an answer. So he called me today. So we checked with legal. Now, yes, technically we can use AI, but just as a point of reference. It is not to be transcribed as, you know, word for word. It has to be double checked. Every email and link has to be checked. It can really only be used as a point of reference. But not to like use that and say, here are my minutes.
Okay.
Is that just, that's city policy,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We have to abide by it.
Yes, that's he just wanted, so he spoke with the guy from legal today and.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
It doesn't make sense to, pay for
Sorry,
answers.
you're right next to me, I can't hear you.
Right?
No, I mean, but that's how we were gonna use it, right? The reference
Right.
was that essentially somebody uses AI. And then they take that, double check it, and then they clean it up and submit it.
But some people wanted to know if they could just, I remember because it came up. They were just gonna do AI and submit it, so, no.
No.
I would say no,
You should
because it
No,
still
I
needs to
know,
be.
somebody did ask that, so
You
that's
can
why,
use it, but you should always proofread it.
that's
Yeah,
why I'm saying. Some people have said that they, you know, a couple people said, well, we'll just do AI and submit the minutes, and so I just wanted to be clear
Mm.
that that is not the case.
They should proofread it. We're not saying that don't use, the resource of AI, but we are saying they do get things wrong, so
That's
you
what I
have to
just
go
said,
in
yeah.
there and clean it up and make sure that there's no mistake.
Yes, that's what I just said.
Yeah.
No, he's not the dead. No, he's not the,
okay. Don't conduct now.
I let people live today.
Okay, so
He's shots.
that was one for minutes, and then two was for interpretation. So that way that like I'm on the Zoom, we could integrate it and I hear a voice in another language and it would pick from any of the 100+ languages available. And I hear the meeting and don't need to just read it from Zoom. So that sounds like that's okay too.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're realistically in April with a really long to-do list between now and July. Ebenezer, with this green light, I guess, we had a list of like 3 options, right? There's only one on the table for interpretation. And then I think for AI, we were looking at, I don't know how many.
It was, I know,
was a
you
couple,
found one,
yeah,
you
yeah.
said, I said Otter, but you found one that was really good.
Yeah, Wordly,
What was the one that you found?
Wordly, AI.
What I also too know when I'm on this one, meeting for a search committee that I'm on, actually the Zoom, when we're on Zoom, it takes the minutes as an AI, so, I don't know how you get that,
No, the problem with our case is that we don't have meetings, we have webinars.
yeah.
And it doesn't do it for webinars, but it does it for meetings. And we need to use the webinar feature because of just to protect the security levels that it has. So could we just do this? So, can you resend to Ebenezer the shortlist for the notes and then for the interpretation so that we can work on getting quotes for next fiscal year? And then maybe that's a good summer project, Ebenezer, so that way, like, you know, if there's demoing that has to happen, that's something easy that anybody could participate over Zoom, from this table they may want to participate. And then we can figure out, how we can afford it. Hello, Jen. You can grab a
Well-
slice.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Did you catch that, Ebenezer? Sorry. Hello? Oh, wow, it's low. Ebenezer.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, did you hear me though? Sorry.
No, I'm sorry, but I heard that you said hello to Jim.
Oh, no, that I was saying, let me know if the audio goes out. That I'm just repeating back. So, Alexis is gonna send our options to use AI for minutes and an option so that we could do simultaneous interpretation with AI. So basically, like when you're on the Zoom, you hear whatever language you want, you'll hear the whole meeting in that language. And it integrates with Zoom. So that way we can look into it, and I think over the summer, realistically, we can like do demos. If there's anybody at this table who's available for a demo, they can participate in it, and then we can figure out if that's something that we can afford.
Yeah,
For next
maybe-
fiscal year.
let me chime in. There's
Okay.
also a YouTube. If you can get a subscription for YouTube, YouTube also has a CC dubbing that translates in just about any language in the world. So you may want to look into it. It's very cheap, like $20 a month or so. In YouTube.
Send me that information, Eleazar. And
No
the
problem,
most
I will.
important thing- Yes, the most important thing here is the cost. And then we need to make the projection for the next fiscal year that will start in July 1st.
Okay. Cool. Anything else, Alexis?
I emailed, the office earlier just to get the emails of the people, that I need to send word to about absences and lateness. The one person that we had discussed that, is consistently late, I noticed she did show up on time. Parks and Culture, I don't know. Tanisha, did she show up on time for education?
I don't know. I was on my own. I think she came though, but I don't know if she showed up on time.
Oh, that's so many. Are there any new names? Or anyone who needs, I guess, yeah, if there's anybody who needs conversations about attendance, tardiness, and you're not sure if they're getting a letter, just talk to Alexis. That way we can just add them in
And I
case.
already texted you with
Yeah.
the concerns, but this is why during the orientation, all that can be cleared up, because maybe if we front load the schedules and the times and the commitments, then people will understand that, you know, you have to show up on time and you have to be fully committed to the board and the committees that you were appointed to.
What's the target date for the letter that we're gonna send it out?
What is this? What are we in?
We're April 14th.
So let's say May 1st.
Okay. Do you want to announce that at the general meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because right now I have, besides, the person who was late, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 people.
Who are they?
Can we say that?
You can say them.
So, Darlie Cornell, John Francis, Jay Baez, Crystal Woodley for lateness, and Sonia Pagan.
What about my friend?
Who's your friend?
She's,
Everybody.
she did not reapply.
Is it?
She didn't reapply. So problem resolved.
I love the lady. She does great work in the community.
I know.
But she doesn't come to the meetings.
Listen, there's a lot of things can be true at
And
the
it's
same
sad
time.
because when she did come to the meetings many moons ago, she was a real asset to the committee. So, you know, I'm disappointed.
Hmm.
I really am.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Did we send out letters to the people that was late?
Yeah, that's what she's doing. So May 1st,
We're doing
everybody's
it
getting
now.
their letters.
So that's why I put, Crystal on it, because I know she was late, and then you confirmed that she was also late, no, I mean, really late, I'm not talking like, you know, hours, like an hour. Sometimes it's just like the last 15 minutes. Like, you know,
I'm curious with the lateness in general, is it usually between the 6:30 and 7 o'clock hour, or is it beyond that?
beyond that,
Because a lot of our meetings start at 6:30, which is.
but this is, you know.
Right, which is to
Yeah.
Luana's point, if you need a 7 PM, if you need to be on a committee that starts at 7 or 6:30, we can share that.
I don't want to belabor the point, but also to Luana's point, we would hope that this is something that the borough president's office is talking about during the application process. Because by the time they're appointed, they've already made the commitment. So coming to orientation and learning you have time commitments and wanting to bounce, that's also a waste of our time. Because now we have to fill a new vacancy. So that could be feedback that we offer to the Manhattan Borough President's office.
Mhm.
Going forward, make it clear in the application that there are night meetings.
Yeah.
You need to attend your
I'll
meetings.
bring that back.
You can see the bylaws online for every community board.
Yeah.
Say,
I-
you're saying that you could see the bylaws in every community board website?
I don't know about everyone, but this one you can.
Oh, yeah, I thought you said everyone, because I was gonna say, haven't seen one in months in some of them. But it's all right, I got it.
That's Eliezer, his camera's on. I will say though, I think like, I know for us, it's like the 4 or the cases, compared to other boards, I'm super like, wow, we're stars. Like, we get the stars
Oh, I
because
know we are.
we do not, I mean, I know
Yes,
we
we
are. I know we are, but also like, we don't struggle as much when it comes to quorum. We don't anymore. We don't struggle as much when it comes to like tardiness even or anymore. I mean, the list goes on and on. Like, there's a lot of boards that like routinely need to suspend meetings or can't get through business because of that, or people who just don't show up at all. And we really don't have that. So, you know, I wanna like, yes, we have these cases, and I think like 4 out of 50.
Right.
When we transition, that's a huge win, because before I feel like people, like 20 people used to get letters. Like, I don't know, I
Yeah,
know.
my round I sent 25.
Wow.
So to go, oh my God, yo, like from 25 to 4, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
that is
I did.
That's amazing. I think it speaks about the commitment that, you know, a lot of people on the board have right now. So, that's beautiful. It's a big
Yeah.
one.
But yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And this was for when we did the data, it was for January, February, March.
Yeah.
But everybody had input of things happening prior to that. But for January, February, March, there really wasn't anything.
It's great.
That's awesome. Cool. So we'll make sure that we share a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But I think it's also a testament that the broad culture of our community board is that we lead by example.
Mhm.
You know, everybody is always here, always on time, always participating, so, yeah. And people see that there's already a culture in place that people gotta follow.
And we're not having super late meetings.
Yeah, 'cause that could be a turn on.
Oh, joy.
All right, let's go, 7-Eleven. Speaking of the next report, or if you're done. Okay, thank you. The next report might take a little bit more time. So I'm gonna pass it off to Leo for a treasurer's report. Carmen, I'm gonna forward it to you, and I know Elias stated.
I sent it to Elias there, I can forward it to Carmen.
Yeah, please do. Where is our man with the most opinion? Oh, thank you. I'm in the chat, and let's see how people do that.
Hey, y'all, I'm in the chat. I'm double dipping, but I'm here. I'm listening. I'm here.
All right,
Excuse me.
so am I good to start?
Yes, yes.
Carmen should be receiving it hopefully soon, but I forwarded it to her. And then Liaison, I sent it a couple minutes ago. So you guys should have it as well. But let's get into my report. So you should have 2 documents. One is a bit more detailed. The other one is just our spreadsheet of the expenses. So we'll start with personal services or PS on the top. I don't think Jim has the Excel sheet on his end, but
I can give you mine.
you have the other one? Okay. So we're doing pretty good with money. We should be breaking even, honestly. We might have a surplus of personnel services, but we'll get into that discussion a little bit after. So for the fiscal year, the staff payroll is 226,488. Effective May 2025, Ebenezer should get about a 2% raise. I'm not sure if that's the scholar raise or if that's something mandated by the city. Okay. And then Paola Noemi may have increases from now to the end of the fiscal year, late June or June 30th. Depending on night shift differential and meals. Right now, we're looking to have a surplus of about $28,000. And the reason we'll go to that topic is, so we were supposed to hire someone to do community engagement or outreach, and that fell through. So that money's still there. Discussion that we had, I think, in previous executive committees, and I know amongst Kathy, Anthony, and Ebenezer, is that we have the opportunity to potentially do something. And I think you see the options on 1A, we can either give an increase to our personnel, obviously pushing initiative that, or the incentive that they become a bit more active when it comes to engagement. We can hire a part-time, or we can hire a part-time outreach role. We have about, I think it was 36,000 total to play with, Kathy.
Yeah.
35,000 total to play with. Or this is the option I think we kind of came to an accord, and obviously we would vote in the next couple of months at the exec, but maybe increasing the staff salary and still onboarding a consultant to do social media engagement. Obviously, our branding and our reach is important. The more people that know what we do, the more engagement and community input we'll get. And I think it's something that at the moment we kind of lack, is that online presence, social media presence. So it's something to consider. I don't think we're voting on that today, but it's something to consider moving forward. And again, moving for the fiscal year coming up, we should have about, give or take, anywhere from $32,000 to $35,000. I wouldn't say to play with, but to use for those purposes.
Well, remember, we did discuss it, because CUNY has a degree program in social media management. So maybe we could reach out to them and have an intern or a fellow of some sort. Because remember, we were saying whoever does on the ground, boots on the ground, community outreach, it's not gonna be that same person who's doing social media, because they kind of really don't go hand in hand in terms of, that type of role, and the person who seeks out a social media role isn't really so much on the
You're right.
nitty gritty on the ground
Mhm.
type.
Yeah, I want to make sure that you get time to go through the rest and we can come back, but I just want to add some more pieces there. Just for context, right? Once we even if it's a part-time position, it's a city employee and they're union. So once we kind of hire, we're locked in. And that will limit future increases, for any staff across the board. So that's, it's a decision, which is why we need to start really having these conversations. And it's gonna take us some time to land somewhere, but just that's the one thing to keep in mind. Because unless the city overall increases community board budgets, we will not be able to have more wiggle room for staff increases. So that's something to keep in mind. And then, the other thing we were talking about around that piece of the fellowship and internship is really looking at the reality. And again, this is not shade to our office or to Ebenezer in any way, but there is a very specific skill set, especially right now, the way socials and digital marketing is moving forward, that we just don't have in-house knowledge of. And so being able to bring in an intern even or a fellow could be challenging, because then we don't have anyone who can kind of supervise them adequately. So that's why we were maybe the role of the consultant is not so much of you're designing this thing on Canva, but really to support setting strategy and training of this is your opportunity for I don't know, whatever, we're coming into June. This is the end of our year. This is what the type of stuff the board should be communicating. Maybe they can have a role in creating content, but more video content, right? Not the flyer, because we have templates for flyers that we got made with our branding. So thinking about it more as a consultant of a strategic role, and not necessarily turn something out on Canva or do the newsletter, because obviously our office has the capacity to do that. I think it's just more about that technical support that we're missing. So I'll pause there.
Thank you.
Can I just point of clarification? The
Yes.
28,000, if we do not use it in this fiscal year, what happens to it?
So, and as we move down, you'll see item number 3, we can take some of the personnel services and move it to the other personnel services, so we don't lose that money completely.
Right,
So there's a possibility. But again, we won't need to.
okay.
Most, and you'll see the list. We'll use something, but not the full amount. So I'm assuming, Ebenezer, you can clarify, the city takes it back.
Yes, let me clarify that, because some people get confused. People say, if you don't use it, you lose it. If we don't use it, go back to the city, but for the next fiscal year, we're gonna have the budget as it is, the complete budget. They're not gonna take away the 28,000 because we don't use it. We're gonna have the same budget that we have for this year. whatever is left over in personal services is gonna go back to the city, but it doesn't mean that we're gonna get penalized, that we don't gonna get it back next year. Next year, we're gonna get the same amount of money that we got this fiscal year.
So
And
we lose it.
if the
So we lose
city,
it for this.
Well, I mean, but it's personnel money, so it's just like our ceiling that we can go up to in personnel. So we can't use it for anything and that we want to either, because it has to be tied to the office staff. So that's important to keep in mind.
I mean, I have a very basic question. If by June, we know we're not gonna use it, is there a way that we can give some kind of thank you for your service bonus to the personnel?
So we're kind of waiting on OMB to give clarification on.
Yeah, because I just feel like it's a loss. If we can do something with it.
Yeah.
Are they entitled to overtime? My understanding is that they get comp time and not overtime. So then why not just use it toward overtime?
So we're waiting for clarification.
City,
Okay,
I've
thank
been
you.
to.
Go ahead, Amanda.
as a city employee, you gotta be really, really, really mindful of, especially in a setting like a community board who's semi-autonomous and who doesn't really operate as the city operates, but he doesn't have his own authority to make those kind of decisions. So the advice, and I think I've been through this route, and I think that, I don't know if anything has changed, to check with the Manhattan Borough's office and their council and see if there's been any changes. So it's a little slippery slope when it comes to using money that is left over from the previous budget, and especially when you're rewarding employees by setting precedents and so forth.
yes, let me clarify. For the operation that we have with the mandate from the Borough President's office is we don't pay overtime, it's comp time. Now, regarding with Anthony, question, what can we do with the $28,000? Give it a bonus. We don't give bonus, but if we want, we can give a raise to the staff. That's gonna be applied for in the next fiscal year. So we're gonna be tapping to this surplus that we have this year. And let's say we give it a 2% to every member of the staff, that's gonna count for the next fiscal year. And then in the next fiscal year, we don't gonna have the 28, we're gonna have the 28 minus whatever increase we give to the staff.
Okay.
And that's why the discussion of what we want to do moving forward. I guess we'll touch bases before the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah.
And another question, can we use it for personal development, like classes and things like that?
Yes, so that's where you can transfer the personal services to the other types of personal service, I guess you say. And one of the points that there's some training that our staff need.
Mhm.
That we're looking to modify the budget. Go ahead, Wes.
So for the PS money, are there types of consultant contracts that are permissible for PS? Would that have to be OTPS?
I think it would be OTPS.
It would be OTPS.
So the kind of things we were talking about in terms of social media outreach, that would all be OTPS as opposed to PS.
Do we have any interns currently?
No. Do you want to keep going with anything?
Oh, yeah, I'll continue then. We'll continue touching bases. This is a conversation
come
we'll
back.
have for the next couple months. So Pitney Bowes, I guess there are, I'm not sure what.
It's the postage
Postage.
company.
Yeah.
There you go. So Ebenezer has let us know, he's very transparent about it. We have about a certain amount of money there that we don't use. Obviously, we don't print too many things or send mailers. I know Ebenezer inquired with the sales rep to see if we can take that money and actually use it for direct mail campaign. So we're still waiting on that. I know he reached out recently. We're waiting on the sales rep, but ideally what we would like to use it as, and this is Kathy's ask, and it was her puts it, but we would like to use it for two things. So to send out mailers to introduce the community board. I think a lot of people in our district don't even know we exist or know what we are or who we are. And also for the Inwood rezoning campaign, just to kind of bring some awareness to it and invite them to a June event that we're looking to host with Wayne and the committee.
So, Leo, I would like to clarify on that one a little bit, so we are on the same page.
Yeah.
The funds that we have in picnic bowls is in the meters. In the past year, when we have some certain surplus, this committee recommend that we direct that funds to the stamps. And with the year, we move a lot of money to the stamps, and this was prior to COVID-19, when we used to have a lot of mailing. Now we don't have that much mailing, but we're still having a lot of money that was in the surplus, like we have today, projecting $28,000 in the surplus. And a member of this committee recommend that we transfer $10,000, $5,000 to the stamps. That's why we have those money, so that fund accumulated in the stamps. It's our money, it's in the bank, we can use whatever we want.
Thank you.
In the Bank of Pitney Bowes,
In the Bank of Pitney.
not her personal.
Yes, in the Bank of Pitney Bowes, yes.
Yeah, so Ebenezer reached out to the sales rep asking if it's a possibility for us to use it for the direct mail campaign. So it's still up in the air. Once we hear back, we'll move forward with that. Okay, moving on. So going to item number 3, we want to modify the current budget to move funds from the personal services to the other than personal services for several things. In the past, we're getting new docks, or we're asking for dock stations. Ebenezer proposed that we instead purchase laptops for our staff. So that's a consideration. Staff training, as was mentioned, it's really important, especially surrounding SharePoint that I think the city has adopted and uses currently. And office management supervision. We also would like to honor the late Betty Lehman with a plaque to name the board of the meeting room. And lastly, our website has some bugs and some malfunction. As Tanisha mentioned earlier, you're getting calendar updates on the wrong dates, and sometimes certain things don't load. So we would like for our vendor to go in and tune up our website. So the idea is to move some of that $28,000 to other personal services, so we have the money to do so. Yes,
This is slightly irrelevant, that they redid the elevator on 175th Street,
yes.
and the plaque for Edith isn't there anymore.
I'll reach out to them today. Right, I can reach out to them today.
I mean, maybe they could do a better plaque, that other one didn't look like it.
Yeah. Send me that email, Jim, just so I
Send you
can,
the
oh,
picture.
yeah, perfect, so I can reach out.
So just so I can understand,
Yes.
so prior to June, there is a possibility that you can move funds from that 28,000 surplus and pay for these things in 3?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that makes, that,
But we have till June 30th. That's
okay,
the end of the fiscal year. After, once that happens, city takes back the money and then we start out.
which we don't want that.
We don't want that. We'd
Right.
rather use it for these kinds of service.
Yep.
Things.
Yeah.
All right. So taking from other expenses, we have about $3,500 left. If you go on to the spreadsheet, it's a calculation for certain items and certain things that we pay for. We have about $8,000 left. $8,287 left. From that money, we have a budget of about $3,500 that we can use. It was given to us by the council member's office.
Yes,
So $3,500 that we can use for events. We discussed last month. Right now, the events that we have, that we will be distributing that fund amongst, we'll have a meet the board in June, late June. The mixer Kathy mentioned, since we have to contribute from our community board, that would be some of the money would be allocated to. We have a forum, Steve and I, but I don't really think we'll need money for that. I added it, but. And then for the inward rezoning event in June, more than likely.
Is June feasible for that or no?
It sounds like it's good to them. From our perspective, though, it's not the rezoning as much as the points of commitment.
Yeah, we need to rename.
And so the community board, the committees need to, you know, pay some attention to those points of commitment so that we have, you know, a meaningful update, because it would make no sense to have an update where the city agencies are on the ball, but no one from the community board has looked at it and they're asking questions that are already answered, or they're asking questions that if they were asked in advance, the presenters could have had the information available. So, you know, land use looked at it. And one of the interesting things that came out of land use is Danny, who's on parks, went through all of the park stuff that, you know, the parks commitments are done. Which, you know, someone should say, thank you very much. But there are tons of housing commitments and other commitments. So those committees should look at, you know, that document and do the same thing that Danny did. Are there things that have been discussed in committee that are done? Are there questions? From my perspective, in housing, almost every single one, it says that there's no new funding needed. And I want to know, when did HPD get so rich?
Wow, that's a bold statement. Okay, so we'll come back
So
to
we'll
that.
come back. to that.
Event, yes, yes,
Events.
your Waikoa fair, no?
Wow. Who has? But I'm talking about the community board hat right now. We had a meeting actually this afternoon with the planning committee for the health fair, which will be June 5th. Not in May, because we decided that it was better to join forces. It's going to be, you know, the DA's office, Columbia, Isabella, Waikoa, and whoever else wants to support and join forces, but I asked Jocelyn to let me know. She's supposed to give me a ballpark figure, but we will need some money from this budget to get tablecloths, balloons, water, that sort of thing. So
Okay.
I don't know exactly how much it's gonna be. It's not gonna be a huge amount of money, but maybe some.
I'll take note of it, and then,
I mean, I think we said what, it was like 500 per event.
yeah,
What's that?
it's about 500 per event. So it should be
It'll
about
be
500.
less, yeah.
Yeah, your stuff will be less.
It'll be less than that, but yeah.
And like I said, even my event probably won't be there.
And it's gonna be in the Audubon Plaza. So,
Okay,
To be used.
sorry, I'm just thinking real quick. All right, so let me find out, CB11 has this model. I'm gonna see if there's like I think they do like a basic PDF questionnaire so that chairs, when there's events that they're organizing, submit all the info. I wanna do something similar because stuff like that, like I need balloons and table covers and all of that. That's an easy thing that Paola can order at Staples and it's in the office and done, or wherever. I don't necessarily care where,
For the
but
99-cent store.
yeah, but we, it's just but because of the payment, process for the office, we just need to have written down exactly what and where so that they can justify that
The
appropriately.
question with balloons is we need them blown up and we need them.
Oh, you're right. That's different.
And
Okay.
But-
So let me find out if I can get that questionnaire thing. In the meantime, after he's done, and this, I feel like we've been talking about that piece and there's consensus there. I need write-ups, or we need write-ups of the events. So like, it's a health fair, this date, I need the stuff by this day, and this is what I'm looking for. So we can figure that out.
Okay.
Sorry, continue.
All right. So we'll move on. And we should have the funds. Another personal service, we have, give or take, about another $4,000 or $5,000 that we can use if needed. Obviously, we don't want to go over. We want to stay to that item, but if we do need, we do have about $5,000. All right, rent paid up to date, so we're good on that end. fiscal year 26 budget modifications, and this has come from Ebenezer. So there's certain funds or certain items that we use more than others. For example, data processing supplies, which is OTPS code 199. We would like to, wherever we have some surplus for the next fiscal year, move it from that budget item to code 199, because we use things more like Zoom, we have a subscription. MailerLite is another subscription. If we incorporate the software as Wordly or any other translation services, we would need to allocate money to cover that. So there's certain funds that we can kind of a toilet book transfer money to cover those things. We'll be talking about it more next month, as I get a list from Ebenezer just to see where the money moved from, but just a heads up. Same thing with code 110, food and forward supplies. Obviously, when we have events, we need money to cover, we have to meet the board, or we have our food that we have for our executive committee meetings. Sometimes Ebenezer has to pull it out of other items. We want to make sure that we have it, because I guess the paperwork and it becomes very tedious instead of just having it for that specific item. One of the items, 142, we can take funds from there. We used to have, I think it was 2 or 3 machines in the office, copy machine, printing machines. As of late February, early March, they were removed since we're moving to digital. So we don't need them. They were removed, so we should be getting some money back for that during our next fiscal year, because we won't be using it. So it's just stuff like that. We want to make sure that we take that money and not lose it, but allocate it somewhere else so that we can better use it.
Yeah.
And then softwares, Alexis discussed, the translation services, transcription services, and the cloud services. Hopefully we can take whatever budget items we're gonna use it for that if we're gonna add. That's pretty much my report. Okay.
Thank you, Leo.
We use Airtable, right? Yes. So I would just look this up because it made me think of something. So, I don't know, I'll look it up. It seems like you can use that for meeting notes.
Nothing?
But I'll look into that further.
I have, I don't know if we're at a point where we need to rank or discuss items under 3. But I think we've been talking about the website for some time, and it would be great to go into the new session in September with a website that has the members hub, that has information on our licensing process. Because I know those things are sitting somewhere, but until we get a vendor on it to figure out how we reorg things, make sure all the links work, I think that that's important, unless
It's a priority.
it's a priority, unless D is also otherwise suggesting we're switching away from the city site, like most community boards in Manhattan have already done. We're one of 4 that still uses the city site. The rest of them have their own prettier website. That could be an option too. But that obviously may cost more to have someone come in and design that, and yeah.
I mean, part of the reason why I think the board and Ebenezer, Belong, I know you can speak to it more than we can, is that it used to be very outdated, but it was a private website, and then they switched to the city because we didn't have somebody kind of on retainer to help with the website. Yeah, so the question in terms of maintenance. I am also kind of curious if we need to have or explore having a vendor for a certain number of hours, kind of on call, that we can bring in to help with the website. Because right now it's the bug stuff is super annoying, and the city doesn't, they'll train you on certain things, but they really will not, they don't do the back end cleanup. You have to bring somebody in if you don't have that. So, yeah.
Support would be great. Support would be great.
Yeah.
Unrelated
Darryl.
question. I know at the end of last year, we got a lot of swag. Do we still have enough for the new members that are coming in? Okay.
And for the
That's
events,
the other thing is that we need for our
we have,
healthcare.
we have.
Fine.
for all the events that we're talking about, we have, some. Oh my God, Indiana, we gotta fix that if you haven't gotten your swag.
It's
ASAP.
good swag too.
Steve confirmed. for
Ready.
me.
Yes. Oh, did I hear somebody on Zoom? Sorry.
That was me. I was just saying, yeah, I'm excited about the swag.
Let's get Dykeman on that bag.
All right, is there anything that like anybody, cause after here, we're in like goal time. After April, because I think Ebenezer, you only have like a 1 month window to submit any budget mods that we need to make.
Yes, I have the end of the month, to do the budget modification, and then the month of May to do the purchases, because everything need to be wrapped up by the second week in June. We need to have all the purchases before June 30th, and sometimes, you get time to place an order and get the merchandise back, because it's a process. I cannot pay before. I need to pay when I got the merchandise with me, or the service is done, and everything need to be done and wrap it up by June 30th. So we are with the time on the top. We need to make the decision by the end of this month, so I can have at least 6 weeks to do all the budget modification, purchase orders, receiving the merchandise or service, and then process the payments.
So any flags on anything we've talked about?
Well, I mean, if that's the case of, what's the decision-making process then for him to move the money by the end of the month for whichever things we're using it for? Like, is this committee deciding what that money eventually goes to? Because if that's the case,
Yes.
we need to have this
Yeah,
conversation
believe so,
now.
Yeah, you're right.
So, yeah, so these are the projects that we're looking at. That's why the question is tonight. Sorry, from 1 through 4 really. And number 2, sorry, letter A is obviously an open, ongoing discussion, not the time sensitive one.
Wait, where are we?
The front of.
So
the
we're
treasurer.
discussing, are we good with item 3 and 4 on this list?
This is on the treasury.
Yes, on the treasurer's report for expenditures in May and in June. We got events. We got dock stations and laptops for the office staff, because those CPUs got by. The DCAS trainings, you gotta pay for, surprisingly. I didn't know that.
Some are free, but most get them.
Yeah. The trainings for the staff, the one that they're on the city system, but the ones that the office staff really need, the technical ones are not free. So SharePoint training, some like Microsoft trainings are not free. So those are the ones that have been identified so far, and the website work that we really need to clean up.
So, Ebenezer is still there. Ebenezer, can you confirm in terms of the money that needs to be moved? Do you need to have the expenditures paid by the end of the fiscal year, or do you need to be fully contracted for that?
No, I need to know how much money we're gonna use.
No, I get that, but in the past, we had this question come up, and it wasn't that we needed to have something paid, but we needed actually to be in contract for the service.
No, everything need to be wrapped up before June 30th.
It has to be paid and completed, the
Yes.
work. Yeah, so that's why certain things in the past have been brought up, but it's not, if the work can't be completed by June 30th, we can't pay for it. So that's what I'm saying, the event monies, we can move it so that there's that ability, but folks need to be really clear, like, you're having a hearing, we could cover food and bring like food for the public. We have the health fair, that's gonna move, but it has to happen. So.
How much are each of these owls, just out of curiosity? Do we know that?
They're 1,000.
They're 1,000 each?
So Ebenezer
Oh, wait,
recommended
there's a new model, let me find out.
2 hours, and Ebenezer, you can
That's not the
clarify.
new model, right?
I
It looks old.
I was told that we have 3 hours in the office.
Currently?
Currently, right? So if we have 3 hours, Ebenezer, do we still need 2 more hours, or are we fine with the 3 hours?
Well, I have one spare, one that is traveling, one is spare, The one that we use in the meeting room, the one you have there is my spare. I have to change it last week because we were having issue with the owl that was there. The image was not clear. We don't know if it was the owl or it's something in the software because this owl this morning was having the same trouble as well. But I would like, to at least have 2 new owls for the regular use because these owls that we have are the first one that we get 5 years ago. And
I was about to say, that looks old.
And
So you know they upgrade every year.
when we get the hours, we put some type of insurance or, warranty they should have, but does the company
It's still
offer
if it's
insurance?
5 years
something?
ago.
Yeah.
No, we don't have any insurance for those owls. Since we have been using for the numbers, and they're getting a little old, is better be safe than sorry, since we have the funds. Doesn't have to, it's not necessary, it's not mandatory, I don't need it right now, nevertheless. On the safe side, I would like to have new 2 hours for the daily use.
So,
Excuse me, I have a comment.
go ahead, Carmen, yeah.
Thank you. Ebenezer, I actually think that it is necessary that we have an owl. At our last traffic and transportation meeting, the owl was not working, and that's a major accessibility issue. One of our board members had to leave because she wasn't able to hear anything. And there is no point in us having meetings if people can't actually access the content. So I don't think that it is something that should wait. I think it's something that's actually necessary because it's something that keeps happening. So we don't want to have to, cancel meetings if people can't hear. We had to do something real. I mean, it ended up working, but that shouldn't be a thing. I mean, we're a community board. People should be able to listen in. We had to use our phones, put it close to an ear, someone call on speaker. I mean, it was a lot. And people need to be able to hear us. So I actually don't think that this is a nice to have. I think is a necessary thing to have at least one spare owl so that people can listen. Our technology should really be upgraded just in general. There's a lot of accessibilities that we have. Even at the general board meetings, people can't hear all these other stuff. And I just, it happens too often. I don't think it's something that should continue to happen. We need to take that seriously.
Yes,
I had a
I
question
agree
to
with
follow
you.
up on that.
Yeah.
Hold
Yeah.
on, Evan.
Speaking of the full board meetings, are we able to get microphones of our own that will connect to their system and pay for those ourselves?
That's a great idea.
And before you answer,
Probably have to check with them.
we might not have the
Yeah.
same surplus in personnel expenses next fiscal year. Keep that in mind. So we're gonna do stuff and we have the money to use for office purposes, right? This is the office use. Might as well do it now.
Yeah.
Where our budget might be tight if we do give increase in the
Yeah,
contract, whoever it is.
especially when it comes to upgrading of technology, we might not have that money, like you said, so might as well take advantage.
I was gonna add, on the owl thing, Ebenezer, and I can send the link. They have the 4K one, which is really nice, but apparently it goes, it hears more. And it can connect more than 2 at a time. So let's say this room is big, you can have one in the corner, one here, and they all Bluetooth connect. So it'd be nice if you can just confirm that the 4K one can connect with our old ones. And then we gotta get the tripods. So that way they can be in different corners of the room. And then we can find out about, I know there's a voice recorder that we can use to connect and some other things for audio. But, let me find out. Okay.
So, should we be ranking this stuff now in the event that there's a limitation on the budget we're using?
Tanisha, do me a solid, can you take it over there? Cause Mary can't hear. It's okay.
Cause it feels like to me, the priorities are OWL for sure, staff training on SharePoint. This plaque has been on this agenda for over a year.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all priorities. I'm looking at them, they're all priorities, but I mean, how soon can we get numbers?
Well, that's all depending on the needs, right? On, how much money we'll need for each.
So we need a budget.
We need an estimation.
Yeah.
And based
We
on the
have-
budget, either we can do them all, or then we need to see, if we can't do them all based on the budget, which ones are happening, but at this juncture, the first thing is to get a budget.
Which we need to do before April 30th.
I just want to make another comment about the microphones. Columbia University is perfectly capable of having microphones that work. You know, so Sandra can speak to someone or kick someone in the, you know, there's no excuse for that.
The only thing I'll say, there are quotes for pretty much everything here on this list. The dock stations, the owls. I think the DCAS trainings is the only thing, and that's online. So I think that based on the money that we're moving and the 3,500 that's already in OTPS, that we already know can cover all of our events, like, we should be good. All it is about, can we get it done in time, to spend? Is that the question, right, Ebenezer? Because I'm like, from number 3 and 4 of what he has, we're good to do it between now and June. It's just about getting it moving.
Yeah.
And this body being okay with it. Okay.
Yes, I can add the items that we can purchase and see how much money we need and move that right away. And the training and the other thing that we don't know, we need to, you know, find out what it is. But the items that we can purchase, I can add it and move the money and start doing the purchase.
So if I understand it correctly, the items under 3 and 4, we have sufficient funds to cover it. The question is just, do we want to move forward? And
Yes.
if that's the case, then we could say yay or nay.
Yes.
Yes.
And that'd be it.
And that's it. Then we can keep going. I know normally we don't ever have formal votes on it, so,
Yeah, we voted on stuff.
oh, we have, all right, so are there any
If
objections?
it's money, you should probably have.
Yeah, I would move that we, advance the items on the treasurer's, report under 3 and 4.
I second.
Can I ask one question? For all the things we want to purchase, are we first looking to purchase locally, or how does that process?
Whatever the city process is.
Yeah, so we do, and I'm glad you raised that up, because in the last 3 years, we've been spending mainly like a lot for contractual stuff like MWBEs, local print shops, union. So we do that where we can. Obviously, for the like equipment purchases, we're limited because they buy that through the city. So, but yeah, there's like a preferred vendor list that we were working on building. So. Motion on the table, sorry.
Moved in second.
He seconded it. Anthony seconded it. Is there any objection to items discussed? Any abstentions?
Yeah, for one thing, for the point of clarification, so we going forward with the owl, as Carmen just make her case that we should buy as many as we have to. So we are.
We're up to two.
Up to 2 hours.
Okay, all right.
Up to 2. So again, it's up to 2. The laptop, dock stations, tripods for the owls. And I think there's the audio extension, but the new ones, we might not need it. So basically it's like a extension to the owl for sound, but with the new version, I don't think you need it anymore. So.
Where I live, we have the audio extension.
Okay. Okay. All right, cool. Yay to our first treasure report. Thank you.
Oh, that's Ebenezer.
Yes, and shout out to Ebenezer. Thank you for your collaboration here. I'm here on Friday, so we can probably get some of this going.
Good job, Leo.
Good job, Leo.
All right, I know it's 7:52. People been feeling a little off. Oh my God, our guidance documents. I don't even think we have time to get into it deep today, but I did approve the secretary one. I need to approve, which one? Besides the general one?
Second vice chair,
What I did.
treasurer, and assistant. Should I just give like a brief background as to what we're doing?
Yeah, go for it.
'Cause I don't think I've done this before. So one thing I wanted to do coming into the first vice chair position is have contingency plans in place for transitioning between officers. So one thing I've been drafting are procedures for the items required by each officer by the bylaws. So the procedures will say, for example, for secretary is required to take roll call during the general. Here are the things you must do by the bylaws. Here are some best practices. And then that's a document that when the next secretary comes along, you pick it up, read it, and it's a more seamless transition. The idea being, if for whatever reason, Alexis wins the lottery tomorrow and says, never coming back to community board again,
We'll all go to Greece.
All go to Greece, but
Yeah.
whoever decides,
Love that.
whoever decides to run for secretary
I'm gonna hold you to that.
has a document they can work off of. So I've been building this for every executive, every elected officer. With the goal being that this is now another thing to add into the repository of materials and resources.
Andy, do you have a deadline for what we should submit? I know I've been.
Yeah, it was my initial goal to have them ready by the end of this quarter, which would have been March 31st, but I think having them ready by the end of the session is okay too.
Okay.
Yeah. Carmen?
Anthony, where are you getting this information from? Is it just, or have you asked the executives to just give you like their day-to-day? Are you referring to the bylaws? How are you putting this together?
Yeah, as a baseline, the bylaws, and then I build up based on what I've observed, and then I pass them to the existing elective officers to take a look and give feedback. So for the ones I drafted, they've seen some version of it. I'll incorporate that, then Kathy reviews and approves.
And the goals, again, like we'll add that to the website so that there's always like a hub, that hidden hub in our backend right now where people could access that. And then what I was hoping to talk through tonight, but I think I'm gonna have to it's still a work in progress, is that draft guide. And actually in the last month, there's just been so much stuff around and Carmen, you know, it's like all the stuff that we're talking about with the office around changes on licensing and sidewalk cafe, and a lot of that actually needs to be in the guide because folks just don't know where to turn to. So I want to say they kind of go hand in hand, and I think we're gonna have to be able to give ourselves a little bit more grace there and just extend that to maybe like late summer, because Paula has to like kind of wrap up some of those pieces so that the chairs for any of these committees know what they're doing, if that makes sense, you know? So like the changes with sidewalk and roadway are significant. And I think those questionnaires are still kind of being discussed and changed. And a lot of that shapes what we're putting in the guide for committee chair responsibilities. That's the short of it. So there's not like a clock on it. I think ideally I wanted to keep working on it through June, but there's just a lot happening at the same time that we need to really, I think it's more important for us to iron out sidewalk and roadway and licensing before that.
See the owls growing again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it feels like there's a filter here. It's weird.
The problem
But
is
it says it's
that
not.
the owl things are like a book.
It looks like a
Very
focus
complicated.
issue.
Yeah.
No, but then the logo itself is blurry too. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, it's not focusing right.
And there's no
Yeah.
filter.
It's 5
But it
years
likes your
old.
shirt. Right out of it.
But all right,
That's
so
like
that's.
1,000 years old in technology.
Oh, that's fine. Now it's good. Okay, weird.
We need a new one.
But that's where kind of at on the
You talk about
guides.
it And it's focused, see?
Yeah.
Wow.
Ta-da.
It's self-conscious.
That's where we're at on the guides. So
We did look at
the chairs, the
Yeah,
committee
one.
chairs, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
anything else I'm missing in terms of
Vice
tools?
chair.
There's some of the
That's part of
office
it.
stuff that I put together too, like the internal control framework
Yes.
around SharePoint. Tech questionnaire is a big one that we'll hopefully integrate soon, which is when the office staff is looking at a venue. There's a questionnaire, like a checkbox almost of what should be at that venue to make sure we can actually have a meeting that's accessible.
Support
Do they have
technology.
microphones? Do they have the projector?
Mhm.
And so when they're looking and scouting, they can bring this checklist with them and go, okay, they don't have microphones,
That's good,
right?
rather than just like doing it intuitively, because in the end, we all have blind spots and we might
Yes,
miss out on, yeah,
absolutely.
that's good, yeah.
And it will diversify the venues we're currently using, which right now has really only been the one on Haven and then the other one on Fort Washington.
And Inwood Library.
And
The
it's
daytime.
library, yeah.
Have you used that one?
Yeah, Aging has done it twice.
I'm gonna go tell Eliza. Can we go to that library? After Ingrid, no?
Yeah, that's what she went.
That one is that one.
The, for morning.
Mary,
But,
I've been
okay.
meeting though, Mary, I've been trying to catch a meeting.
Okay.
Never
Let me be
stop.
sensitive to time. All right, so rezos for this month. I think we have a reso that we need to vote on tonight. Can we do that one?
Where is it? Can I have a copy?
It doesn't have a result.
Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't have to be
Right.
Go ahead.
You heard,
I don't know
Tanisha
where at.
is missing the result.
Oh, I saw, yeah.
This is housing.
That's right.
Yes.
I'm everywhere.
Housing?
I can email you. Or do you have the link for the resume?
Okay. Email it, Indiana, or maybe we could share screen with it if you have the one with the result. No, because
Let me just add you to the
Oh.
the Google
I
group.
think we added that. in.
Okay.
Did we add that? I don't think we added resolve.
So then why
We don't have
would
a, it doesn't do anything.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's our first time.
Wait, so just to clarify, did you guys have quorum at your meeting or no?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Oh,
Mhm.
I'm
We
sorry.
had quorum, but the reason why we're bringing it up to exec, and it did pass at committee. The reason why we're bringing up to exec is because we feel that it ties very closely with both aging and health and environment. We did reach out to both Mary and Steve, and I'm not sure if they didn't get back to us, but hopefully now that we kind of can present it, would love to kind of get, that, I guess, echo of support from your perspectives and your respective committees. Thanks. But I'll turn it over to Tanisha and Indiana because they really kind of led on all of this.
We got the resolve.
We don't have to vote on it today because, I mean, I think that happens a lot, that there are resos that do intersect. And I
Mhm.
think folks in this week have it and they can make recommendations and make it amendments from those.
Perfect, and we can do it that way. But if
Don't
we
have
have
to vote.
feedback, particularly from Steve and Mary, that would be really helpful. Thank you.
Yep, but the point is, it need not come from the executive committee, it can come jointly from the three committees.
Right, but
Right.
the committees didn't respond to
Right,
us.
but I
That's
mean,
why we
but
went
the
ahead.
point is.
This is my thing.
But let me finish.
Go ahead.
If you did have quorum and you passed it, so it's going to the board anyway. And if you send your completed reso to the other committees that agree to it, they just add their names to it. And it's then presented not as coming from one committee, it's coming from three committees.
Whatever y'all wanna do, but I would really appreciate if, we email y'all and tell y'all about something that we get a reply, cause that was a week ago and we
Well,
didn't get any
me too,
reply.
except, I'm not one of the people it was sent to.
Okay,
Yeah.
to
you.
I know.
okay, so with the CDPEP in mind, we will resend it so that you can review it and Steve can review it, and then any amendments, I'll ask that. We have what, a week? We have a week and a day. So with a week and a day, any edits can be made or recommendations.
But our
So
committee doesn't meet yet. I can't get, approval, I can't get support from the committee until we meet.
I don't think you need to, committee approval. It's just that they circulate, and if they read it and they're cool with it, or if they have friendly amendments to make on the floor, Marielle can incorporate that, or like just announce that she made changes.
Exactly. Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah.
And thank you
Is
again to
there-
Tanisha and Indiana.
Is there a completed version of this
Yes.
with the result?
Yes, we printed the wrong thing, so we'll get it to y'all. Indiana has it. I think
Yes, and I
working on
sent
it.
the link.
Yeah, she sent the link.
Um,
I cut off the resolve.
So I think the main thing, I highlighted at the very end because the resolve may need to change a little bit because there was a court order today extending the deadline. So basically this program has been on the books for years, at least 10 years, and it allows certain Medicaid recipients to receive care from either a family member or a friend, and that person can get paid. And before, there were like 600 different agencies that you could, kind of enroll with and receive payment from for providing services. And in last year's budget, the governor and elected officials decided to change the system. So now there's just one company that handles payment, but it required absolutely everybody in the program, whether you were receiving care or providing care, to register with like a website that was very glitchy and it crashed, and there was not, technical support. There was not adequate language access. And so the reso highlights that. And then I think our ask now, they moved the April 1st deadline first to May 15th. And then today they came to an agreement where it's now, I believe, until June 15th. So the ask is to ensure that they do adequate outreach and have adequate language access to help people, complete their transition.
Right, and no delays in service. What
Yes.
happens is they don't have the infrastructure. Kathy wants to be in charge of everything. This wasn't the state, this was the governor. She wants to be in charge. I'm here to tell her like it is, Gwen. She wants to be in charge of everything. And so this is something in the state, the Public Partnership LLC is the entity that they want everyone, the consumers and the employees, to change, the home health care providers. They want them both to change over to this system, but again, the system is glitchy. No customer service. You can be online for 3 hours and then they'll hang up on you and say that they'll call you back and never call you back. So it's a lot of problems with it. And we anticipate people not being able to get their care, people not being able to be paid, because the way it's like cannabis. The way it's rolled out is just totally messy. So we're asking that they put a delay on it until they have the infrastructure, they have the technology, they have the staff, they have the language access to support the system. And since there's so many people in our community that either use this service or is employed by this service, it's important to us. And if we're talking about our aging community, who need their healthcare providers, and we're talking about our disabled community who need their health care providers for day-to-day things, if we're talking about health, yeah. So I know Wayne got something for us.
Any questions for Tanisha and Indiana before we move on?
But y'all get it. Y'all get why it's important. So we'll take any friendly amendments that you have for us, and then me and Indiana will go back to the drawing board, and we'll hopefully have something to present for general meeting.
No, I just think it's critical for the other two
There was
committees
some-
that you outreach to, get back to you, but you said you anticipate it's going to cause problems. I know it's causing
Yeah,
problems.
well, I'm
people are
trying to be
calling you.
nice. I'm trying to be nice, you know what I'm saying? But yes, it is causing huge problems. The customer service is crazy. It's like, and if you need help, and God forbid you have different type of mental health issues, it will drive you nuts.
And
And
if you
then
don't have it, it'll drive you nuts.
they keep emailing you, they'll keep texting you, but the thing that you're supposed to do, you can't really do it because it's not organized. And we have thousands of people that, we have over 200,000 elderly and disabled people who take advantage of this service, and a lot of them live in our community.
So we'll definitely chat it general. It'll be added under your committee, under housing.
Yes,
But when there are
we want-
comments, yeah.
We also want, the aging committee and the health
Okay.
committee to co-sponsor it.
Send it to us.
I don't think Isidra is on. So we had 13 agenda items, one withdrew, so we'll have 12 resolutions for the general board on licensing. But 11 of those are SLA, one is a sidewalk cafe.
Anybody else with Reso?
We have a resolution coming out of traffic. As you guys know, we had the Coast Street naming applications come in. We had 3 total. 2 rescinded. They just didn't fall or fit our guidelines. We will be revising our guidelines in June. There's just certain changes we want to make or amendments. We want to make sure that we consider the times we're in. And as well, it's kind of broad. We want to just give a detail. A lot of the points that were brought up by the other applicants were not wrong. Again, we just didn't want to, we want to set the precedent and ensure that we're following our guidelines because they're set in place for us to do that. So the one that we did vote, we voted yes as committee, was William Billy Bang Thomas, and Carmen will give you a bit of a breakdown on his accomplishments and accolades. He was a pillar in our community.
The street that they applied to be co-named is 156th Street in Amsterdam. William Billy Bang Thomas, he was a coach and he mentored a lot of youth in our community. A lot of his contributions have been with chat on 159th Street, also some contributions to PS 28. But a lot of his contributions were also in Harlem, which brought some questions to a lot of people. Billy Bang actually lived in Washington Heights for most of his life. He's been getting recognized through news articles, certificates, city council, Rucker Park Hall of Fame, literally as early as 2005. So for more than 15 years, probably more than 20 years, he was a man that was paralyzed. He was shot when he was trying to intercede in a robbery and became paralyzed. And even after that, that's when he continued to contribute to our youth in the community and really just give back and making sure that they're taking kids to sports tournaments all over New York City. I think this is a really important co-naming application, mostly because even though a lot of, I wouldn't say most of his contributions, but a lot of the contributions were in Harlem, Washington Heights is exactly where he lived. This is where his family still lives. His son lives in Northern Manhattan, but also this is where his neighbors actually knew him, and not just by name, so really through all of his actions. And those areas, for example, like the Wright Brothers Playground has often been overlooked. So it's probably not news, or at least to me, when hearing this or reading through the application, it wasn't surprising to me that he was probably taking students from the neighborhood or from 156th Street and putting them or taking them to playground in Harlem, because there's not a lot of investment in that area in general, Washington Heights, and also not a lot of recognition. But he seems to be, or he doesn't seem, it's proven that he has done a lot of the work. His application is actually in the board office. It is extensive. It is very thorough, lots of letters, lots of signatures. And this is exactly, I think, the type of person that embodies the spirit that we should really be honoring in our community. And that's it.
Yes.
Okay, so this man comes from my neighborhood. What Carmen said is exactly right. People keep yelling about Harlem, but not too long ago, 156th Street in Amsterdam was considered Harlem. This was considered Upper Harlem. I keep having to say this. Malcolm X got killed in Upper Harlem on 168th at the Audubon, where all my old elders used to go for their dance parties. We have to stop putting out this narrative that only Spanish people live in Washington Heights. It's disgusting. And yes, he deserves to be honored. And yes, we do some great things in our neighborhood. We are just not recognized. And that is going to change. So thank you, Carmen.
You're welcome. I definitely think that it's not some of the questions, again, that will probably come up, and I encourage all of you to vote in favor of this resolution, is the drawing the neighborhood lines, but it's not really about that. Like at the end of the day, he created opportunities for kids that are still raving about it to this day. Adults that did something with themselves, putting kids into sports. And it's not about whether he lived on 155th or the technicality. At the end of the day, he lived on 156th Street in Amsterdam. That is Washington Heights. And he should be honored here, whether or not his programming extended to Harlem and the rest of the city.
The guidelines doesn't specify that he had to have contributed in our neighbor specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's the point. The street co-naming is based upon where he lived, right?
Exactly, I was just
And-
about to say that, yeah.
And, you know, where the services or the contributions were provided is to some extent irrelevant. We co-named the street right over here for J. Max Bond. And while that is near where he lived, his contributions were, actually, his firm designed this building, but his contributions were to City College. He was the dean of the School of Architecture at City, which is not in our district. He was the dean or the head at Columbia. He was on the City Planning Commission. So but it's like, that's where he lived. Then you can talk about the contributions. So this discussion of whether the contributions were in Harlem or Poughkeepsie is irrelevant.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you so much for that, Wayne.
When you say guidelines, are those guidelines we've adopted or that we follow because the city has adopted?
From my knowledge,
It's the city.
and Jim
Yeah, let me
It's a
comment
city.
on
Can
that.
comment.
We adopted them, but on the other hand, if we know the city council absolutely won't do something, it doesn't serve any purpose for our, you know, in fact, it would frustrate the people trying to honor something.
Got it.
So we have to be consistent with what the city council will and won't do. And they have their own very strict items, but the ones as they were adopted, this board, and they were adopted and then revised several times in the last 10, 15 years.
Okay.
I mean,
Wayne,
there are street co-namings where if someone was, killed or an accident at a location and the location is important, true. But there are other instances where, that's where a person of note lived, but what they did isn't limited to that spot. I mean, if they were, in charge of the first, woman in the fire department, or whatever, that's what you're honoring, and they happen to live here. The two do not have to be one and the same.
like the Reverend that we honor, we named in the fall,
Yeah.
right? He didn't live there, but that street was where he had that.
Well, yeah, the parish and his church.
Mhm.
So we do encourage you guys to vote on it, and shout out to Carmen for doing a lot of the legwork and reviewing the application. I have one more thing.
Councilmember Abreu's district, or is that in?
Yes, we'll be
Yeah,
covering
yeah.
the bill.
That's right.
I have one more thing. So I received a sidewalk, roadway cafe application. I received it after my committee meeting. By the time that we have to send any, comment, it will be prior to my next meeting, so I think we should review it. It's for the Inwood Farm,
No, they told me that it's due
May 5th, oh, May 7th.
seventh, is the day of, okay, and
That's
this
Wednesday.
is. Oh, all right, it's 8:15. So we gotta be thing, but Paola is working on, and tied to this and important for this entire committee to be aware and the whole board. Paola is working on a quick one-page office protocol on sidewalk and roadway. We've had a lot of back and forth about it because they come when it feels like it and it does not fall in line with the board schedule or the committee schedules. And we don't have control over that. So she's basically putting together our scenarios on how we'll address it based on when it comes in. So generally sidewalk is licensing, roadway goes to traffic. Because after they get the traffic approval, then they can go to the SLA, not the other way around. So that's why it goes to traffic. In the instance that doesn't happen timing wise, it goes to exec. If that doesn't happen, then, so we have 4-step scenario. So in this case, that one is going to your traffic meeting because it's the first roadway.
But we have a hearing,
Oh,
we won't
shit.
be able to discuss it.
Wait, when is it?
Sorry, excuse my friend.
Then it goes to you.
It's
Then
May
it goes to
7th.
me.
May 7th is when, what? our
Well, we're
response
supposed to
due? Or
provide a
we're supposed to
comment.
Review it. Oh, we're
Yeah,
supposed
we're
to provide a
supposed-
comment to
Yeah.
DOT by May
By May
7th.
30th.
Are your meetings at 7? Could we do 6:30? That you guys just do this and then the 7 we start the hearing? Or is that too much or not possible?
We can, I mean, Steve would be the only other person that might have an, we can.
I don't think that's an issue.
Oh, sorry, hello? For the roadway, because it's due May 7th and it's the first roadway, I would like it to go to the committee only because it's, what is that, Indian Road Cafe, right? Or what used to be Indian Road, and that,
Inwood Farm.
Inwood Farm, but what used.
Yeah, but we have a hearing with, the health committee to discuss quality of life issues with the plaza. But we're supposed to finalize it tonight. Steve isn't here.
Okay, so I would ask if traffic is willing to meet at 6:30, do this for 20, the 20 minutes before, vote on it, and then health and environment, and you guys meet at 7.
I have 3 of my committee.
And then I
members, so
ratify.
You guys, we're a majority right now.
Sorry.
Can
Probably
we be
good with that?
realistic on these 20 minutes? Is it really gonna be 20 minutes?
It should be. I don't think it would harm the bad merchant.
They're
They have
also,
a complete application.
and it's a complete application, our purview's super limited on it, so it shouldn't extend beyond that.
Got it.
And we're gonna have to cap it. So that way and that paperwork is so simple that it's right there, you check it off, and I add my digital signature by the 7th and we're good.
Got it.
Okay.
All right, so we gotta make a note of that. And thank you guys, because it's just the first roadway, so I would rather not just ratify what is on a one-way street. Or I think is it a 2-way, 1-way? It's a bend. All right, so we're good on resos. Given the time and where we're at, um, who has like something urgent around their committees to
I
discuss?
don't have
Yeah.
any urgent, plans for our next meeting
Okay.
on May 1st. We have Bautista.
Cool.
We talk about members and.
You guys are meeting here?
No. Well, I'm trying to get it in Jaywood right from.
Right.
The rec center, I have to go over there tomorrow again. He hasn't told me that.
I have good news. The rehabilitation, that's the only word that I can possibly use. If anybody has a better word, please let me know. About the baseball fields will not be using turf. They will be using grass.
That's good.
And I asked again.
Right.
Real
Real
Grass,
yes.
grass.
with soil and everything.
And then there was a very persistent listener who kept asking, will there be any other turf discussions forthcoming other than like the soccer field that's already been discussed, right? As far as I'm concerned, and as per Parks, who was present in that meeting, we don't foresee turf conversations forthcoming. So I'm like, okay, great. So good. I just wanted to share that in case anybody gets stopped. What?
True good.
That is the truth, at least for Parks,
Yeah.
you know, and then refer to the minutes for anything else on this. And thank you, Alexis, for always being my superstar coach here, taking minutes. I really appreciate it.
I would love if you guys could announce that at the general meeting next week. All right, for chairs who are on Zoom, Indiana, oh, Elisa just hopped, sorry, Marielle, any flags?
Hi, yes, sorry, I'm like juggling this meeting and bedtime. Yes, two things. One, we had a really good presentation from, oh goodness, the name is escaping me now. His name is Walter, NYC Love Kitchen, and it was really good. I encourage you all to watch the recording and look out for the minutes, but really a lot of the work that they do is quite holistic. So it's not just, you know, being a food pantry, but it's also connecting New Yorkers to a lot of the social services that they need. And so that was a really great opportunity to kind of hear from them. In terms of kind of things to look out for, I think the big one is the Rent Guidelines Board. Again, those public meetings are happening. As you know, we usually kind of put forward a resolution in May for that. So do stay tuned, and I'll try to have an update for everyone at the general meeting next week. And then I think just if I can share kind of on a personal note, Kathy, you are aware, but I have decided not to reapply for the community board. Yeah, I know.
We're gonna miss you.
I'm gonna miss everyone too. And I spoke to Tanisha about this during our, and Indiana and kind of others during our housing meeting, and I kind of, you know, shed a tear too. It's been like the honor of a lifetime, honestly. Like I've really enjoyed being a part of the community board. I joined in 2020. And I've learned so much from many of you, those who've moved on, and you know, happy to have played a very small part in you know, the neighborhood that I call home, and that is home for me. I think, you know, just my reasons for it, you know, I'm a mom, I have 2 kids, really intense job, a lot of other things going on, and unfortunately, I'm just kind of feeling really stretched. So but I will try not to be a stranger, you know, pop in when I can, at least to the general meetings and listen in. And just a really big thank you. It's been an honor to serve along all of you. Thank you.
I will still be on the PEP.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm still on the PEP.
And you've juggled this with like so much. Had a baby during your tenure.
I did. Yes.
Just the fact that your commitment's been unwavering.
Yeah.
Just like Miles, you know. No, but just the fact that you've been able to like juggle and continue like with unwavering commitment here and like always working to kind of keep that present has, I think, shaped so many people and like, yeah, like it's been seen by so many of us, you know what I mean? And so really grateful and appreciative of everything. So Thank you.
Thank
And yeah,
you.
we don't keep hearing about you at PEP, so.
Yes, that's right. No, thank you. And again, it's truly been an honor and yeah, just keep doing what the board is doing. I think especially in times like these, we need the community board and what everyone is doing. Obviously, it's not easy work and we're not paid for this. But you know, there's a deep level of commitment and love for our community, and that's why honestly it's an honor to have worked with all of you.
So I see Ebenezer is not with us. I think this is something for district service cabinet, but I copied you. But it might also go to traffic and transportation. It might also go to business development. I've noticed there are a couple of locations where on the street, there are either vendors or stores that have basically taken over the sidewalk in the lower part of Washington Heights. It's not clear to me, you know, if the vendors, if they have licenses from someone to do that, and if so, I mean, because I think it's great that, like, you know, a good selection of fruits and vegetables, but the one by TD Bank, they're literally at the corner, and if anyone stands there to shop, you can't get around the corner to the 57, to the post office. They just move in one car length. They would not block the corner. And then there's a new store that just opened, grand opening. The day of the grand opening, it looks like they dumped boxes on the street, shopping carts and merchandise. And it's like, if that's your grand opening, typically you want to do a, you know, good first impression. And it was like, it's a junk store on, but the question is,
Like the same block, it's like
it's
same
by that
side.
back.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw that
the
the other
question
day.
is, how is that regulated and, you know, how do we make sure folks know that there's only so much of the sidewalk that stores are legally supposed to be able to use, not the entire sidewalk? Who follows up on that? And I've raised that with Ebenezer before. I've never gotten a response.
So I reached out to DOT with the email you sent me. DOT flags it for NYPD. They'll let them know, hey, improper use of the sidewalk, but it's the sanitation that gives the violations out.
But I mean, my point is, I'm not saying that I don't want them to have the operation, but the location is, if you just literally just move it in a car length, you would not block the corner.
Yeah, sanitation and NYPD are the ones. NYPD, they do is they verify if you have a vendor's license, and if you don't, they take your stuff and kick you out.
To add to that, there's also, it seems that scaffolds contribute to that, because if you move a little bit uptown and on Broadway, right between maybe 177th, there has been a scaffold going on. I don't know for how long, and we've had passed resolutions in the past about extended, and it's the same issue of stores crowding the sidewalk on either side, not just on the storefront, but also on the other side. And I don't know if there's a correlation between the scaffolds and also this whole thing of occupying sidewalks. Yeah.
For the grand opening, there's no scaffolding, but they just took over the sidewalk.
Yeah, but you got me thinking that there has to be also, that's an added variable, especially when you move a little bit uptown. Like, yeah, there has been a lot of crowding of sidewalks, particularly in storefronts that have scaffolds already.
It's
Yeah.
something, and I'll nudge Ebenezer about it as well, just to back you up, but he should adjust the district service cap.
We can, I don't know, I wish they didn't have necessarily contentious. I don't know if maybe that's changed, but like the chambers that tend to, you know, favor more the storefronts over like street vendors. And I feel like that could be a good opportunity to address some of these things. So that we don't necessarily go into the punitive route, because it's just a matter of like having conversations. I'd be curious to see if they'd be open to something like that. And I know that like same thing happened with the supermarket on 186, and they were like really breaking, like everything that was where the city bikes are, they were putting all the shopping carts there. Like you could not walk on that street because they had like a wall on both sides. And I know that Carmen's office, or like the elected, so maybe Sean's office in this case, they would talk to those vendors preemptively before DCA comes in, because I think, you know, with NYPD, they come in and we already know what they're gonna do.
We don't want people to lose their lives.
Yes, I'd be curious to see if we can maybe get the chamber and Sean's office on it. Oh, yeah, you're right.
I didn't hear from anyone, but years ago, under the district manager prior to Ebenezer, I think this was on Audubon Avenue. And you're right, we didn't want anyone to lose it. So the district manager, and I think someone from Consumer Affairs and the local police precinct, they walked the strip handing out flyers in English and Spanish, saying how much of, the sidewalk the stores are legally able to use. And that they were going to, I think, in the next month, it might have been 2 weeks or a month, they're going to come back and do another survey, and anything that was beyond that would be, confiscated. So it wasn't done that day. They came back, what was it, 2 weeks, a month later, and folks were doing it, and they started saying, well, how can you do that? And it's like, but we told you.
Education.
I love how you wait into that, it like,
No, but it's like,
real reactive instead of
we don't have
proactive.
to comply. But we've been doing it, so. we
The
can't
other
help.
thing I did want to flag for everyone, and this is, I think, more Wayne. This is not a new issue, but I think it's gonna pop up in the public session, is around the Fort Collegiate Church.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, they've been asking folks of like, oh, go to the community board, around it. I'm trying to get more updates about what proposals have been on the table or not. But it's pretty final, like what is it called? The consistory?
Yeah.
Whatever, like their version of like an archdiocese or like the whole thing.
They're not, because Porphyria is really involved in that, so I would suggest that you call him and talk to him a little bit more. But I understand, they are just, it's gone.
Yeah.
They're not gonna be able to worship there, they just let it fall to the wayside.
Yeah. What?
And it's not getting funding from within
It's
though,
not
that's what it is,
landmark.
right?
What?
They're not getting funding from within. I think they got cut off by the.
They're not
TLA.
getting funding from I guess, I mean, I'll call the
Diocese.
archdiocese. Yeah, you're not,
Well, where I do want to, and I don't know, we'll see what happens, what we hear at the public session, but where I think, kind of our kind of in our capacity as a board is that no matter if they close down June, July next year, it's one thing, but that block, what comes next, the board should absolutely be looped in by whatever the oversight board does. I don't know what they call them. Because that land, you know what I mean? Like we're talking about like a block, a whole block.
I mean, I live next door to that.
Yeah. So like whatever, whether or not it's like a developer comes in or they tear it down or whatever it is, like there's a role, I think, there and space for the board there to be looped in. And I think, that's probably what we're at.
We could call them.
Yeah.
Sanctuary, co-op meets there for any market. And the other thing is little history. Collegiate Church used to be called the Dutch Reformed Church. Yes. Back when we ran them, they gave themselves
Just remember, I mean, landmarking, when we did Audubon, that took 6 to 9 years, we were told that was fast.
What?
So, and,
the sanctuary is magnificent.
That's exciting.
Landmarks typically would not designate the interior of a church. But the experience we've been having with LPC, they won't move fast. Chris Whitaker was on land use, I believe, as a member of that congregation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we can maybe get some more information. on
That's like with Paul Porphyria is a member and he's really involved and he can give you.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I guess what I'm trying to say is that whatever, because there's it's a community, right? And so that congregation, there's a lot of members who care, who are doing some work around it. And also, if it closes down and the congregation does whatever it does, we're talking about another lot on 181st that will remain empty, that we don't know what the bigger power that is on earth wants to do with that block. And I think it's concerning for us in that corridor where you have 2 lots, the businesses are gone.
Then vacant.
Yep. We've been talking about we need housing. We've been talking about the affordability. So I'm just saying that I think that if members come next month and in June, or community members come to land use or housing or like any committee, I think that we should, think about strategically, what is the role of the board in this? And if maybe that means in the fall session, we have more conversations, or maybe there's a letter or resolution to the the overview, whatever power that is, we explore that. That's all.
They were actually working there today on landscaping, so I don't know what's going on. And at the moment, it's all green, it's absolutely beautiful.
The cherry blossoms blossom.
Oh, they have cherry blossoms?
But, that can be preserved, 'cause it's so beautiful to look at. Now, I walk by there.
So let me ask you, I'm not
I'm
familiar. So
sorry,
you
Jim,
said-
can you repeat your comment one more time? I
Jim's
can't
point was
hear.
about landmarking it, and then what Wayne was saying is that, you
I
know.
heard Wayne, I just didn't hear Jim, and then his most recent comment just now. I didn't hear that.
Can you repeat your most recent comment? Just a little louder.
I saw them working on landscaping there today, and my main comment was it's just such a magnificent green space that, you know, anything we can do to preserve it. And, you know, whoever this diocese is, you know, they might allow, you know, some volunteers to landscape. And because we have Chris and Porfirio, I think we can get a lot of information and maybe even some input.
Heard you loud and clear, Jim. Thank you.
So I think the other thing is, because this came up a year or so ago, and I think until recently, didn't the Nagel master lease a lot of that space for one of their programs and somewhat suddenly canceled the lease? I mean, so the other thing that could be done is if there is an institution in the community that needs space and can lease it, that will help financially. So I think that the money is the problem, I understand.
Yeah, like literally it's perfect for like the tour that I got was they have the sanctuary space. They have the old building that has like lots of rooms and offices, and they have a basketball court. And then the building next to it is like classroom space, like a bunch of classrooms. So it's good for like I would say like from what I recall, they're not like great for high school, but perhaps for like a Head Start or something.
We're not
But not getting into, but yeah, there was the last time I asked is that there were several proposals, but they weren't insufficient for it. So, and that they're done in June. So that's why I think there may be people coming to public session and like asking us to get more involved. So I'll talk to Porfirio and make some calls just to know like anything right now, like real proposals. But I think we as a board need to have foresight. And I hate to say it, but you know, if that fight is over, if that stage is over, for us, it's about what's gonna happen with that other space, you know? So Tanisha and then
I know we talked about, you know, how we need housing or whatever, but maybe, well, I know developers don't literally seek out, you know, churches and things that have a lot of land and stuff and work with them to not only do the updates or whatever that the church needs, but to also build and sustain supportive and real affordable housing. I mean, we've been trying to get Ralph and Carmen to have a meeting because literally, and I would love to like set up a tour of the last thing that Concerned Housing did. Write that down, Concerned Housing. The last thing that they did in the Bronx. Y'all can look it up. It's called St. James, and it's a church, but they helped each other out. It's St. James Terrace. Yeah. And so now they have a beautiful space that is affordable and sustainable housing. They have bullet and soundproof windows. It runs on clean energy. The whole building runs on clean energy. They have all kinds of space, laundry room, and I've been doing this work for a long time, and a lot of supportive housing buildings are chaotic, like the one on 163rd. But this one is they got a whole wing for the staff. It's beautiful. Like the tenants feel like they can come to the staff when they have problems. Everybody's happy. So we really need to see some places that we have some down to earth developers who will work with HUD, who will work with churches to build housing that's really, really affordable. So
Daryl, and I think we're
and the lot that we got across the street on 163rd too.
From 63rd and 1.
They make it empty. We've been talking about
You mean
forever.
the Casa Mercedes site?
Where,
Oh,
right
Lord.
there it was.
Yeah.
Are you in
That's not church.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the other
No,
guy.
I'm just saying, like, all of these spaces.
Just a couple things, like what you were saying, there is an abandoned synagogue on 178 that's been there for years.
Oh, they're selling it though.
What's that?
There was a for sale sign on it.
Oh. But with landmarking, I'm just curious, are we able to put a hold on it while we go through the process? No.
That landmark committee or something.
But, all right. Does anybody else have any other items?
I have something for youth and education, maybe health and environment want to get down. We have been having meetings with CCIT. Don't get me started on what that acronym means, but we had them on our housing and human services, and we just had them come to youth and education. It's a coalition around advocating for mental health services, especially around the Be Heard services. Again, another policy that's put into place without the infrastructure. You can call 988. You could call 988 for someone who's having a mental episode, but are they coming? No, because they don't have the staff. So we're by next month we'll have a resolution for you on supporting more money being put in the budget to actually support, to stop sending police for mental health issues. Because again, like we're talking about with the CPAP, they keep building out these policies that don't have the infrastructure or the funding to do them well. So you'll see that next. CCIT. I'll send it to you, Jordan. It's a whole coalition, a mental health coalition.
But I know some do working with 988 and that's
Yeah.
separate off.
Yeah.
Actually working with
Yeah, it's important.
So I'll send you her info. I'll do an intro.
Especially if you're talking about our youth, mental health is a big thing. And one thing else, I guess that's old business or whatever. What's his man name? Dr. Gary. I'm saying this on record. I need him, Chair, to not ever contact me again. He came on my personal LinkedIn page. Okay, I was not here when whatever happened with the armory. Okay, I just got here. He's come into board meetings several times and accused us, the Youth and Education Committee, of not supporting him. I don't know who this man is. I've lived here all my life. I don't want him contacting me. If he contacts me again, it's going to be a problem. I sent you an email, and then on the email, he was like, oh, we all can work together and this and that. But he comes here, he's very condescending, and he says, you people are not supporting me. Y'all wrote the resolution and now you're not doing it. I said, I am a Black woman. Nobody can tell me about fighting for our children for mental health, okay? So I am not going to let some man that I don't know who's fighting for a space that he had when, as in my personal life, as a community-based organization owner, I ain't never had a space, but still do the work. Somebody tell him do not contact me, do not comment on my personal pages. I want nothing to do with him, and his issue has nothing to do with me. It was something that happened in like 2017. Before that. Stop it. Stop harassing us.
Talk offline.
Offline, because he's had great.
Yeah.
Tell him he got the wrong one. That's it. I'm good.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Carmen, Mariam, Diana. We'll see you guys.
Thank
Bye.
you. I just have one point for old
Sorry,
business, if
go
that's
ahead,
okay.
Mariam. Go
Really
ahead.
really quickly. It's just regarding representation of our electeds at committee meetings. We know that they come to the general meeting, and I appreciate that, but they should also be coming to our committee meetings where they can actually kind of delve into these, substantive topics. I know for housing, we usually have kind of like a standing agenda item. That's,
Are we still recording? Can we know?
yeah, sorry. Yeah, no, I'm talking about just kind of really asking our electeds to also show up for the committee meetings and not just the general meeting. So if there's something that can come from you, Kathy, to also tell them, look, by the way, you should also, even if it's just like a written, note with some updates in terms of what they're doing on those particular issues. We need them to, we need to hold them accountable, and they need to kind of update us. So just want to put that on the record.
I got some ideas on it, so we can talk about it.
Okay,
think
sounds
that
good.
we
Thank
also
you.
just-
Take care, everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Carmen.
It's not even urgent.
All right, thanks. Bye, Carmen. Hablamos.
Bye, everyone. Have a good evening.
I had a beef with them before I joined them.
Busy,
And I said,